So we'll go through a navigation tour and a quick listing of the different features that we'll be covering throughout this course. Our first demonstration is a navigation tour. We'll be going through and looking at some of the settings, where you find your searches, and a brief overview of the different analytics. Again, I encourage you to follow along. So here we are inside the Microsoft Social Engagement application. We've got a lot of analytics here in front of us, and we'll get to that here in a little while. But let's start here at the top left corner. We call this the waffle. This is the informal name of it. It's just a tool to navigate us back to our Office 365 applications. If we continue over to the right, you'll see Microsoft Social Engagement as a button, and that is our home button. That button will bring us back to this basic analytics page where we have this overview. Then we have the informally named hamburger, which brings us to the different navigation areas, and we'll come back to that in just a minute. As we continue across the top right, you'll see that we can have a quick glance through our profile here for Office 365 for our user. However, there are no changes that can be made from this. If you want to make changes, it needs to be directly within Office 365. Here we also have the ability to get to some of my own preferences, and then also to see the about information. Just below us here, we've got some trends that we can see. We've got increasing trends of 10%. We have about 1,000 posts here, and we have a date picker. We get to make this selection for the default within our global settings, but here we can do it directly with a custom time frame or whatever we might like to see for our current trends. Now back here to the different navigation options, where we have search setup, analytics, that brings us right back here, private messages. If we had any of that set up, we can see here that we've not set those up with our profiles at this point in time. We can go to Social Center and see posts, and we can go to any of those different areas to see the different statistics or settings or things like that that we have been setting up. Here we can get to our settings area, where we see different things like the connections, user management, and social profiles. Now that we've seen some of social engagement in action, let's talk a little bit about the features and capabilities that we saw. We can gather targeted social posts, both public posts and private posts, so that we're seeing things through our authenticated accounts, things that are not necessarily public. We can also set up alerts for these so that we get notifications automatically if we've got trends that are changing, if we have private messages from high-profile influencers. We can analyze all of this information. It's great if we can gather this, but now what do we do with all of that data? We can detect the trends, positive and negative. We can detect the sentiment. We can worry about location tracking and awareness. What if our product has a different reputation in different locations? And then we can engage with those targeted social posts. We have the machine learning capabilities to continue to make our sentiment analysis more and more accurate. We have the ability to add automation so that we know if something is a new lead in our Dynamics organization or if it's a customer service case, and so much more. We keep talking about social engagement plus our customer information. Now, here's a few places where it might make sense to engage with those two at the same time. So you've heard me mention several times about Dynamics 365 plus social engagement. Here are a few different suggestions on how it might make sense to marry those pieces of information. We can add social to strategic forms. For example, we have some high-profile accounts. We might want to keep an eye on what our competitors are doing in advance of having a battle over a sale. We can have dashboard information. This could be an all-up view within our Dynamics information so that we can see what's the social buzz after we send out that massive email marketing. Have we monitored for problems? Do we have a product release so that we have seen that people have problems with the widgets that we have just sold? We can keep an idea of the sentiment of both our products and our specific brand name. We can compare that social data next to our customer data right on the same dashboard. And then again, the streamlining post-processing. So those posts come in as leads. We can then continue to use the full power of the platform behind Dynamics to make sure that we are processing those leads appropriately, processing those cases appropriately to continue to increase our customer satisfaction.